How to do internet. William Brony signing in once more because it's fun to do that. I'm just gonna jump right in. It will only make sense if I tell you the whole story. Celestia took a deep breath before she continued. I know all the stories in that book. That was how I knew of my sister's return and how I knew how to stop discord. This book was written by a powerful group of seers who knew that I would need a guideline after becoming ruler of the sun. But that's getting off topic. Anyway, I was told to memorize the stories in that book, and Equestria's darkest hours stood up to me. I knew I had to be on the lookout for the filly who was supposed to grow up to be Queen of Darkness. I originally thought it to be my little sister, Luna. She was a pony with dark coat, and she did possess powerful magic at a young age. However, I soon learned she was destined to be Nightmare Moon, which meant I still had to search for the other one. Centuries after I sealed my sister away, I began to ponder how I could find the filly in the legend. I began to wonder if the symbol book was a cutie mark. If that was the case, I went about my search all wrong. There was a completely different factor that went into it, but that factor complicated things in more ways you can imagine. I might be looking for a filly who hadn't found her cutie mark yet, even though technically that cutie mark is seen on a bunch of ponies in Canterlot. Regardless, I began to focus my search on fillies who hadn't found their cutie mark. I opened Celestia's School for Gifted Unicorns not just so I could help young fillies learn to harness their magic, but in the hopes that I could find and stop the filly that was supposed to become the Queen of Darkness. And that's when you walked into my life. I was walking past the school building when I saw your friend Sonic Rainboom. A second later, I felt a powerful surge of magic coming from your school. It was stronger than anything I'd ever felt. I followed it at the classroom you were in, and I saw it. You were only 7 years old, I believe, yet the magic you exhibited was even more than many grown unicorns. I stepped in and calmed your magic down, immediately realizing you were the filly I was searching for. You didn't realize your cutie mark came in, but seeing that made me even more sure. That was when I had an idea. What if I could keep you from becoming a threat to Equestria? Then I could make amends for what I had done to my sister, and possibly save thousands of ponies from the process. So I made you my student, and presented the symbol to you as a normal cutie mark. As I taught you the pure side of magic, I also tried to keep you in the light. I sent you to Ponyville in the hopes that learning more about the magic of friendship would keep you off the dark path set for you. So yes, Twilight, the mare in the story is you. It was a lot to take in, and Twilight was speechless, not just because the princess had confirmed her fears. She was mainly shocked to learn that all this time Princess Celestia saw something special in her, that's something only she could do. But this was wrong. It was not true. Just like that, all of her dreams are thrown out the window. So all this time, Twilight said slowly, you were just keeping me caged. Twilight, I know that's what it looks like, but I assure you, you never had a plan for me! Twilight's voice was cracking as she spoke. You were just trying to keep me from being a monster. No, Twilight, that's not it at all. I did try and keep you on the path of light, and yes, I did things to keep you there, but it was only because I trusted you, Twilight said, backing away from Celestia. You were the only pony I knew would never deceive me, but you were lying to me from the beginning. The tears came, and they just wouldn't stop. Even the princess saw her as a monster. The one pony who would never call her a monster just did. Twilight, please calm down. Your aura is... I loved you! Twilight screamed. There was a blinding light, and Twilight heard Princess Celestia cry out in pain. The light died down, and when Twilight looked forward, all she could do was scream. Seconds later, the guards came. What they saw would change things forever. The first thing they saw was Twilight backing away in fear. Twilight Sparkle, what happened in here? One guard asked. I was all Twilight could get out. The guards looked over to where Twilight was looking, and the sight left them utterly speechless, because the second thing they saw was a statue of Princess Celestia, exactly identical to the original Princess Celestia, exactly where she had just been standing. And because I'm kind of a nerd, I'm just going to start Chapter 6 here. Chapter 6, I Can't Run Away Anymore. After that, she just ran off, Rainbow Dash explained to her friends. She called the others right after meeting Twilight and Canterlot to tell them what had happened. They were currently in the park, discussing Twilight's behavior. Even Spike came, since he had spent most of the time with Twilight. She did seem really stressed out when you brought her to my house, Fluttershy said to Applejack. But I didn't see anything strange. Maybe she's suffering from... Pinkie Pie looked around, then whispered, that time of the month. Maybe it's... Here, let me rephrase this. I think this is what they're trying to say. Pinkie Pie looked around and whispered ominously, that time of the month. Darling, I doubt this is related to that, Rarity stated. I've seen Twilight during that kind of period. While she's a little cranky, she's not like this. Besides, Twilight continued for Rarity. So awkward for me, I'm a guy. Spike continued for Rarity. I timed it. She's not going to have that for a while. She shuddered to think about it. He shuddered. Oh, it's a he there. Sorry about that. He shuddered to think about it. He knew that that was a normal thing for mares, but he still felt uncomfortable talking about it. There were many issues of having nothing but female friends. I know how you feel, Spike. I know how you feel. So if it ain't that, Applejack said, and she ain't sick, what else could be up? I wish she would talk to us, Fluttershy said, instead of running away, Rainbow Dash continued. Seriously, what's up with that? Do we know where she went? Rarity asked. She went to go talk to Princess Celestia, Spike said. And there's nothing to worry about, Pinkie Pie said cheerfully. Princess Celestia will know exactly what to do. I'll certainly hope so, Applejack said, looking away from every pony else. She didn't want to say anything to anyone else, any pony else, but she was a little suspicious of how Twilight had been behaving ever since she opened those books. Excuse me, a voice called out. Everyone turned and saw a blue mare standing there. Her mane was white, and her cutie mark seemed to resemble several symbols of magic. She wore a very familiar cape and hat, and everyone knew exactly who she was. What do you want? Rainbow Dash asked harshly, making Trixie wince a bit. Rainbow Dash, that's not kind, Rarity scolded, but Rainbow turned away and crossed her forelegs. You're Twilight Sparkle's friends, right? Trixie asked. Well, duh, Pinkie Pie said as if she should know that. Not like there's another big group of ponies and a dragon talking about her well-being. Fair enough, Trixie said awkwardly. Is she okay? I wanted to give her an invitation to my show in 4 days, but she wasn't home. You all look so worried, so we're trying to figure that out ourselves, Rarity said. Don't tell me you're worrying about her, Rainbow Dash said. Afraid she won't make it to your little bragging session? Rainbow Dash, Rarity scolded again. Trixie took a deep breath as if trying to control herself. I don't expect you to understand, but yes, I'm worried about her. For your information, the show isn't about bragging of talents. I'm done with that now. All I want to do is show Twilight what I've learned in my pilgrimage. Yeah, you mean brag, Rainbow Dash snapped. I'm sorry about this, Trixie, Applejack said, showing even she was having a hard time being there. But we really don't know too much about what Twilight's going through. If you're really that worried, though, we'll keep you posted. Thank you, Trixie said, bowing to every pony before trotting off. Rainbow Dash sat down next to Pinkie Pie, shaking her head. Can you believe her? Rainbow Dash asked. She's only been here for 3 days, and she thinks she's one of us. Well, she seemed really worried to me, Fluttershy said. I think she was actually trying to be nice for a change. Either way, it was 2 years ago, Rarity stated. If she wants to start over, I think we should put it behind us, or the past behind us as well. Especially she's living here now, Pinkie Pie said, shocking everyone. Beg your pardon? Yeah, well, I'm planning a welcome to Ponyville party for her, but no one wants to attend. I guess I'm not the only one having a hard time with this. Sorry, I saw appplebloom. Whatever. So I guess I'm not having the only time having a hard time with this, Rainbow Dash said. Applejack was in deep thought about Trixie moving in. Applebloom mentioned something about building a stage for a show pony. I'll talk with y'all later, Applejack said, getting up suddenly. What's wrong with you? Rainbow Dash asked. I gotta talk to Applebloom about something, Applejack said before galloping away. I wonder who's worse, Spike said. Applejack or Twilight? Speaking of Twilight, Pinkie Pie said, I wonder when she's coming back. Should we confront her about this when we see her? Fluttershy asked. With the way she's been acting, I don't think so, Rainbow Dash stated. Knowing her, she'll just deny anything. Besides, like Pinkie Pie said, it'll be okay to trust the princess. If that's true, Rarity said, looking down, why does my chest feel so funny? Applebloom and Silver Spoon were sitting in front of the stage that they were making, looking it over. It was coming along nicely. At this rate, they'd be done in a few days. It was crazy watching Applebloom work, though. She was too fast. No pony should be able to build something that quickly, and apparently Applebloom did this kind of thing a lot. So why hadn't she earned her cutie mark yet? This is amazing, Silver Spoon said. Between my funding and your whatever it is that you do, Silver Spoon said, making Applebloom laugh, we should be done in a few days. Seriously? Is it that amazing? Applebloom asked. Yeah, we would have taken a normal pony weeks to do. You succeed in a few days, Silver Spoon said, walking over to Applebloom's work desk. Applebloom, that's not normal. Applebloom laughed even harder. So how come you don't have your cutie mark yet? I don't know, Applebloom said. It always feels like something's missing, you know? I get you, Silver Spoon said. But hey, this time we're doing this with the intention of finding your special talent. So what should we do? Applebloom asked. Well, Silver Spoon thought for a few seconds about the issue but came up with nothing. Applebloom was obviously a weird case. Whatever her special talent was, it had to be really special because they were doing everything to figure it out and still nothing. It seemed there was a missing link, but whatever it was, Silver Spoon was clueless. Hey, Applebloom, they heard from down the road. The two fillies turned around and saw Applejack trotting over them. Does she know what we're doing? Silver Spoon asked. She knows I'm making a stage, but she don't exactly know for who, Applebloom said. I think she's about to find out, Silver Spoon stated. Applebloom sighed and walked over to her little sister. What's up, Applejack? Applebloom asked. Remember when y'all told me you were making this stage for some pony who really needed it? Yeah, I remember. Was that pony the show pony Trixie? Shoot, she was caught. Why did her sister have to be one of the elements of harmony, and honesty for that matter? Isn't it? Applejack asked softly, getting a nod from little sister. Why didn't you tell me? 'Cause I remember when she was here 2 years ago, and you had nothing nice to say about her at all. I thought if you knew who the stage was for, you'd tell me not to make it. Applejack suddenly looked a little guilty, as if that was what she was thinking. She gave a defeated sigh and knelt to her sister's level. This is real important to you, isn't it? Applebloom nodded. Then I ain't got a problem with it. Applebloom perked up instantly. You really think it's okay? Well, I admit it. I don't like it. I just feel sour about 2 years ago. You know I'm not the most flexible pony in Ponyville, just the most athletic. That's for sure, Applebloom said sarcastically, earning a sisterly noogie from Applejack. Ah, Applejack! Watching the two of them together made Silver Spoon smile, but she was jealous. She knew that her mother died. She knew that her mother died before she was born, and she never knew her dad, so she was always really close to siblings. In some ways, she looked at Applejack as a mother figure. I wish I was close like that to my parents, Silver Spoon whispered sadly. Guys! Guys! They heard Sweetie Belle calling out. Sweetie Belle? Applebloom asked. What's wrong? Applejack asked, walking over to Sweetie Belle, who looked frantic. Horrible! Newspaper! Princess Celestia! She began hyperventilating. Sweetie Belle, calm down, Applejack shouted, instantly calming the upset filly. What about Princess Celestia? Sweetie Belle had just reached into her saddlebag and gave Applejack the newspaper. She read it over, her eyes getting wider and wider as she read. She eventually dropped the paper and galloped away, now looking frantic herself. Applejack! What's wrong? Applebloom called out. Silver Spoon looked at the paper and was shocked by the headline. In the essence of keeping it mysterious, here's the insert headline here, Silver Spoon exclaimed. What? Appleblum called out, looking at the paper. Suddenly, her search for a cutie mark seemed insignificant. Alright, I'm cutting up the episode off here. There's a little bit more. I'm going to try and give a little bit more to make it a little bit longer video. Including, well, now that the original writer, I don't know the YouTube name off the top of my head, but I know that the fanfiction name is Sapphire Libera 3. Hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. But yeah, I actually, believe it or not, I was just like chilling around on the internet, finding different stuff, and I found a website called Friendship is Magic, fimfiction.net or something like that. And I was on there, and I was looking at a few fanfics, and like the fanfics that had linked me there were crappy. They were clopfics. It was kind of gross, not very well written. It was overall like, I'll even read a clopfic if it's well written, though I won't probably enjoy it too much. But this one was one of the new entrants, like over the top on the banner had some of the newer fanfictions added, and Inner Demons is one of them. I was intrigued, checked it out, and I was like, oh my gosh, this story is so much awesome. And it only had 4 chapters, but I found the fanfiction.net version, and they had the full version, and that is the story. This is Lonely Brony.